Looks like your business might be in a bit of a pickle. Don't you worry about a thing. You ain't alone in this. You're just a success story waiting to happen. Trust me on that. Every bump in the road is just an opportunity wearing a clever disguise. Welcome to the Hounds of Business Community, where we don't just sit around twiddling our thumbs. Nope. We turn those obstacles into mighty fine stepping stones. This here's a place where high-level entrepreneurs and sharp professionals gather to grow their businesses and mindsets, kind of like how a good old gumbo needs the right ingredients to be something special. Ideas thrive here, and collaborations? Well, they're as natural as sweet tea on a hot day. Success? It's a journey, and we're fixing to walk that road right beside you. Now, don't forget to follow us on LinkedIn for all the latest tips and insights. We're talking about the kind of wisdom that'll keep you ahead of the game. And while you're at it, head on over to our YouTube channel. We've got ourselves a treasure trove of videos, from expert interviews to webinars, everything you need to stay sharp in this fast-moving world of business. The Hounds of Business Community? Well, we ain't just a network, we're a movement. So why not come on and be part of something bigger? Join us today and let's turn your business journey into a real Southern success story. Together, we'll achieve greatness, just like crawfish and singing on a Friday night.
Good morning. I'm gonna say good evening. I don't usually do things this early on live streams. I usually work and plan. But thank you and welcome for coming. Hopefully, there's no technical issues. Everybody seems to have storms or something going on, so bear with us and we'll get it going. Thank you for showing up to the Growth Trinity today, guys. This is an educational presentation brought to you by the Hounds of Business and our amazing sponsors and partners. Super excited. No cheap infomercial here, guys. Little glasses of milk to help you move forward, as Tonya would say, to grow your business and really give you the exposure to three megastars that have been there and done that, right? Grown their business from the ground up, learned and perfected a craft and skill that most of us haven't learned yet or haven't mastered yet. So if you're looking, whether you're starting off in business, you're just getting started, taking that leap, or maybe you're successful trying to scale up to the next level, right? Or maybe you're just super successful and bored. We have those in the hounds of business as well. Hey, you come to the right place, right? This is for heart-centered, high-level professionals who love getting things done, without the hardcore sales, without the pitch slap, right? We want to build authentic relationships with other people who put our best interests first and really want to help us grow, whether that's with us and our product or service or not. So if you're out there, you're flopping around and you're a stray, hey, no more strays out there. All right. All right. Welcome home. All right. This is a place for you to grow and judgmental free. If you don't know me, just real quick, I'm the proud and humble leader of the Hounds of Business, also known as the Redneck Connector and Redneck Financial Coach. And, long story short, I started really the Hounds of Business because of an accident. Right? I started on accident because I just didn't know how to grow, didn't know what to do on social. COVID hit. They told me I couldn't go out and play anymore. And all that kind of, traditional hardcore type of sales and, coffee chats, having 40 coffee chats and doing this script, it just didn't work for me. And hey, guess what? I wasn't alone. Right. So that's what the Hounds of Business is all about. If you're looking to grow with authentic relationships, collaborations, and pushing other people up so they can return and reciprocate and push you up, well, dadgummit, you came to the right place. So I'm not going to rattle on and on. Just want to make sure that folks understand, hey, if you're looking to go further faster and grow your business, don't do it alone. That's the hard way. All right, do it with us. All right. So send me a DM. I have an engagement guide I'll be happy to share with you so you can go have fun again, start connecting with the right people and doing things that are meaningful because you have an impact to make. That's what the Hounds is about. You have an impact to make in this world, and you won't, most people won't, because they don't have the support and resources to get it done. So that's who we are, and that's what we're all about. And that was the shortest version anybody's ever heard me say. So without further ado, we're going to bring this up and we're going to start this party with the one and only Tonya Eberhart. And let me pull her bio up because this and Michael Carr are both of BrandFace. This is a great story. It's most a Hallmark story. I won't spoil it for everybody. All right, but let me see. Where's my stuff? There it is. All right. So Tonya Eberhart is the founder and CEO of BrandFace, personal branding company focused on helping coaches, creators, and experts become sought after authorities in their industry. She's also a speaker, podcast, and international best-selling author. Tanya's journey began selling vacuum cleaners door to door to pay her way through college. She mastered the art of storytelling to get into the door. Then she accepted a job in radio industry where the stakes were higher and the prospects were harsher. She quickly learned that if she wanted to change the perception of those high-level business prospects, she had to change the way she presented herself in the media world too. That's actually what ignited her mantra: change how you're seen, charge what you're worth. After building her own personal brand, Tonya became a sought after expert known for positioning and presenting her clients uniquely and helping them build a profitable personal brands. And Michael Carr is the COO of BrandFace. He's also a real estate branding expert and international best-selling author. He has been actively involved in over 78,000 real estate transactions and have been named America's top selling real estate auctioneer. Michael was first met Tonya in 2013 when he became her client. He immediately put her exclusive personal branding concepts to work at his own brokerage, and as a result, his estate business quadrupled over the next year and continues to grow in recognition, revenue, and recruitment. Michael became known as the Abundant Life Broker while building his boutique real estate brokerage in Jefferson, Georgia. He taught real estate agents how to utilize the personal branding strategies that made him successful. And now he teaches to new entrepreneurs across the globe. In doing so, he realized that his passion was helping others to succeed and live their most abundant life. So without further ado, let's get this right now. Pull them up. And they're even
Hey, Mike.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning, sir. We appreciate you.
Oh my goodness. I appreciate you. And I see the comments are already blowing up. Folks are engaged and excited. I'm really honored that you guys are here. In this, I don't say stuff I don't mean, right? People know that already. But you have been absolutely transformational in my life and business. What you have done and saw in me about a year, maybe a year and a half ago, and then helped me figure out the stuff that we just don't know, right? We start a business, but we work for someone else. They did all the other stuff. They did the branding, right? They had the story. They had all these things laid out. And it really helped me not just to have what we think of branding traditionally, pretty, right? Pretty graphics, good presence, but meaningful. It connects with the right people. People understand and see what I'm about before they even talk to me, right? These kind of things is what you're going to be sharing, because oftentimes the marketing, we put the cart before the horse, right? So I cannot wait to give you guys the stage. Thank you for being amazing people, amazing hounds, and thank you for presenting this to help so many other people out there who have all the passion but maybe no clue, right? Or maybe they've been misguided, or they're trying to do something that doesn't fit them, right? And their unique voice and style. So thank you for not telling me what to do, but rather guiding me and showing me and so many other folks in the business world, how to do it our way. And that's important. So thank you so much.
You are so welcome. Mike, you've become such a great friend. And you know what? It'll be 2 years this coming, March?
April.
We've known you.
2 years.
2 whole years. We love
And
it.
for those of you who don't know it, I didn't have this accent until I started hanging out with Mike. It all rubbed off on me.
Right.
I
Well,
love it.
real quick, because I don't want to take the whole time, but you guys are more country than I am. That's what's funny about the whole thing,
Yes,
right?
that's-
I was the only country guy in the Hounds for the first year or so, and now you guys came, and now we got about 6 or 7 that are more country than me. So, hey, you can be successful. You just got to find your own voice. So, everybody, take notes and ask questions. Engage in the comments. Engage with each other in the comments. Get to know folks. Network. Don't pitch slap with a P, right? We don't do that. But get to know people and really be a part of this conversation. Make use of it and connect with these folks afterwards. All right, guys. I'm going to leave you alone and take it away. And then, wow, take notes, everybody. I appreciate you all. I'm out.
All right. All right. I'm going to give for allowing us to share this today. This is something we're very, very passionate about. And as you said, I'm going to tell just a tiny bit more of my story here in just a moment, but change how you're seen and charge what you're worth is really what we're talking about today. And it is a game changer, a true game changer. So I'm going to just kind of start. Michael and I'll go back and forth through this presentation, and we're going to teach you some things that you can apply now and things that you really need to think about. But the number one thing we're going to teach you is like our litmus test. How do you know if your brand is like doing what it should, right? And that's what we're going to teach you today. Okay, so change how you're seen and charge what you're worth. This is a fantastic quote that might surprise you guys, but it's 98% of people will actually meet your brand before they ever meet you. So I want you to think about that for a moment. That alone should tell you how important your personal brand really is. Let's say you meet with 10 people this week, but all 10 of those people, they've already checked you out online before they met with you, and your presence online is going to tell them whether they should give you the opportunity that you deserve. So the main purpose of a brand is really to attract people and inspire them to want to do business with you before they ever even meet you.
Yeah, that's big. Here's a great example. 85% of our clients with BrandFace are also speakers, authors, podcasters, sometimes all three, like many, many, many of you are. What happens when a podcaster or an event coordinator, right, lining up speakers, wants to feature you on their show or on their stage? They're going to look you up, right? It doesn't matter. I mean, I look up my landscaper. Yeah, like you're going to look people up, right? So your brand's got to be dialed in, right? And they're going to see one or two things when they look you up. They're going to see confusion or they're going to see clarity, right? You can't calculate the cost of confusion, guys. Trust me, 20 years before I met this beautiful lady, and I was a great marketer, was not a brander. We know that it can cost you a lot of commas and a lot of zeros, just don't know how many, right? Confusion or clarity, you got to be clear.
Yeah. I mean, in other words, your presence before people even meet you determines whether you're going to even get an opportunity to meet with somebody. So let's take this just a little bit further. Okay. So once you get on a stage or you're on a podcast, right? Because we talked about the fact they're going to look you up before they even decide whether to put you on a podcast or put you on the stage. But once you're on that stage or podcast, if your story is really dialed in and compelling enough to get your prospects to want to learn more, what happens next? They look you up. Again. And this is the second time that your message or image plays a big role in winning or losing opportunities.
Yep. Today, we want to take a good, honest look around. We want to be honest with ourselves. We want to ask ourselves, will I be ready for all the opportunities that are out there in 2025? There's going to be incredible opportunities, and y'all need to grab them. So in other words, do you know if your brand is helping you or is your brand hurting you? And today, we're going to find out because we're going to walk you through the personal brand litmus test and ask you some serious questions about this that you can think about. We're going to walk you through our personal brand litmus test so you can see and take a closer look at how your brand is representing you everywhere that it shows up or that it doesn't show up, right? So before we get started, though, I'd like for both of us to share just a little bit of our background. We'll be real brief. A lot of you know who we are.
Yeah. And more than just what I did was selling vacuum cleaners and media, I wanted to express to you guys the journey, the quick journey. Because when I entered the media world, what happened is those doors began slamming in my face left and right. I was young, I was green, I didn't know what I was doing. And it showed, right? And I knew one thing, if I wanted to change the way people perceived me, I had to change the way I presented myself. So I began to study my craft. I began to approach my clients really differently. And I became one of the first radio salespeople in the country to have my own website. So that really positioned me uniquely. And about a year and a half or so later, I really was firing on all cylinders, right? I was doing so well in that I thought, hey, wait a minute, if that strategy and concept works for me, it can work for my clients. So I began to cherry pick my clients, bringing them into the studio one by one to craft their story, their message. And fast forward, as of today, BrandFace has, I founded the company in 2013. And then as of today, we have clients in 6 different countries, 47 US states. And we work with coaches, consultants, and experts who want to change how they're seen and charge what they're worth. And that's our mantra. And so that's a little bit more about me and why I'm doing what I'm doing today.
And many of you know the story from me. I was a client before I became a partner in the company and the COO of the company of BrandFace. I was Tonya's first real estate company and client that she worked with. I hired her for marketing. I've been a lifelong marketer. I've been in business 32 years on my own. I believe in marketing. I know all about marketing. I've made the mistakes in marketing. But what she taught me was branding. And I can tell you that 20 years prior to meeting her, when I was just a marketer, a promoter, I was just wasting a whole lot of money and it was untrackable. When I became a brander, when I became a brand face, my company took off, our real estate company took off, and we can track it, guys. That's what you want. And what's what we want to teach you how to do today with your brand, because then you're going to build an ecosystem with that brand that's going to bring in money and help you charge what you're worth, which is the key. Right. Profit's not a bad word.
Exactly. And speaking of that, throughout this journey, I'd say about 90% of our clients tell us that before they come into BrandFace, they say we're not really charging what we're worth. And so we're on a mission to change that, because we know what it's like to have this life-changing message and purpose to share. And we know also what that transformation looks like when you get it right. So simply put, our mission is to turn your passion into profit, or your purpose into profit. So let's think about this for a moment. You already have a brand. Everybody already has a brand. You're already known for something, but here are the questions you should be asking yourself. Is it what I want to be known for? Is it different? And is it memorable?
Mm-hmm. You see, great branding isn't just about being known for your profession. It's about being known to be different in your profession, right? We had a friend say one time, if you're the only person in your industry, get out of it. Right. Competition's good, but you got to be different. And if you haven't defined that, if you haven't defined how you're different, then you become a commodity. All right. And commodities are figured in 3 different ways: cheap, connection, or easy image. All right. The first is the cheapest, and no one ever wants to be known as the cheapest anything. Okay. Number 2, your potential clients are going to choose people they're already connected with, but that does not mean that that person they're connected with is the right person for them. Right. Or they're going to choose the most convenient, the first one that they recognize, the first one that they see. Right. And that needs to be you. Right. Because if you present your value through your brand, you're going to stand out as different to your competitors and to your potential clients.
Absolutely. But here's one thing you have to know. It's up to you to build your brand the way that you want to be seen and the way that you deserve to be seen. So we're going to get into the litmus test here in just a moment to help you to understand whether your brand is helping you or hurting you. But before we do that, there's 2 big myths that we really want to debunk here today. Okay. The first one is that marketing and branding are actually synonymous. There's a lot of confusion out there about the difference between marketing, brand, and branding. So let me clear that up for you guys. So first of all, marketing is using various different marketing channels or vehicles to get a message and image out to your ideal audience.
Yep. And your brand is that message, okay? A message and the image that you're inserting into those marketing channels and systems, right? So when you hear someone talk about, we'll help you build your brand, like you can see a website building company say, we help you build your brand. No, they don't. They build a website that you're going to put your brand on. So you have to make sure that you immediately separate building a brand from promoting a brand. You build the brand first, then you have everything that you need to promote what sets you apart in all of those other channels, right? Because all of us have the same channels. All of us have the same pool to fish in. The difference is how you stand out in the pool differently.
Exactly. So let's move on to myth number 2 now. A lot of people think, hey, I've got a logo, I've got a photo, I've got a tagline, my colors are consistent, I post every day, my brand is all set, right? And while those things are really important pieces of the puzzle, honestly, they're just elements of the brand. Photo, logo, tagline, many, many other elements of the brand. And so what you want to keep in mind is a brand is an entire ecosystem. It's not just those 3 things. We look at 77 different criteria when we build a personal brand. So if you only rely on those 3 elements to tell your story, you're going to achieve a fraction of your branding goals and attract a fraction of your perfect prospects too. Okay, so I just want to set those two myths straight before we move on. So now let's go on to the personal branding litmus test. And as we ask each question, I want to hear you guys, I want to see you guys chime in with a yes or a no to this answer. There's only two answers. There's a yes or there's a no. Okay. All right. So litmus test question number 1.
Is my brand super defined? Okay. And what we mean by that is, have you answered the 5 critical questions that all powerful brands must answer? And here they are. Exactly. Who do you serve? Exactly. How do you serve them? What qualifies you to serve them? How does it make their life better? And finally, what makes you different from everyone else that is also attempting to serve that same customer?
Yeah. And this goes right back to our statement about marketing versus branding. How would you know where to market or what to say in your marketing unless, first of all, you know who it is you're trying to attract and what to say to attract them, right? So those 5 questions are really very powerful. And your personal branding journey starts there, right? Answering those questions with great clarity, especially the last one, what makes you different?
Yep. And yes, we know that this is tough, guys. All right. So I'm sure we're going to be posting those questions for you so you can mold these over, because they're not instantaneous, right? You got to think about these things. And remember that it's very hard to read the label when you're the one inside the jar. And everybody has been the one inside the jar at some point. And you need somebody else to sort of show you what that looks like from the outside. All right. So question number 1, is your brand super defined? Let's see those no's and yeses coming in. I've already seen several no's, a lot more noses than yeses. Thank goodness for some yeses. That's awesome, right? If you know that, then you've got great clarity. Put a big check mark by this one. Let's move on to question number 2. If you don't know the answer to that, keep thinking.
There we go. Okay. Question number 2, is my brand developed to showcase those things? So if you answered no to number 1, then you're definitely going to answer no to number 2, right? So you got to get those things dialed in first, the 5 questions. And then is it developed to showcase that? In other words, the development of a brand is in 2 main areas. It's in your messaging or your story, and your imagery or the look and feel of a brand. So are those things obvious on every marketing channel you utilize? Because it's not enough to know the answers to those 5 questions. You have to show it in your brand. Not enough to know, you have to show.
Yep. And so you ask yourself these questions. All right. Does my brand messaging, my story, clearly define those 5 answers to everybody that looks me up? Is my image and images aligned with that message, right? In other words, does all of the imagery that I'm putting out there support that? We know that a picture is worth 1,000 words. The words and the pictures have to match. Okay. And is it immediately apparent that what I want to be known for, what Tonya calls the 75-mile-an-hour glance?
Exactly. All right. Number 3. We'll keep moving here, guys. Okay. Thank you for submitting the yeses and the nos. Love that. And hey, if you submit no, don't be downtrodden. It's cool. We got you.
We all were a no at one time.
Yeah, absolutely, we were. All right. Number 3, is my brand displayed correctly and consistently everywhere? Because if there is no consistency, there is no recall. So a few questions you should ask yourself here. Okay. Do all of my social channels reflect my brand with consistency? My videos, email campaigns, my podcast profile, author profile, speaking profile. How about my website, my books, my coaching and consulting programs and courses, my speaker materials? All right, keep those no's coming, because I know there's going to be some more no's out there, right? So yeah, think about those things. Is the brand displaying all of those things everywhere?
Super important. All right. Question number 4 in the litmus test for your brand. Is my brand making me money?
Big
right?
one.
Am I able to charge what I'm worth? Because that's the key, guys, right? Let's eat better. There's no big mystery to this question. It's really straightforward. If you are among the 90% of coaches, creators, experts who don't feel like you're charging what you're really worth, then you need to know it all begins with your brand. It really does. That's where you set yourself apart from all the other people in your space. That's where you show your value. That's where you show your purpose. And building a purposeful brand is strategically designed to give you results. Okay. And when that happens, there's no end to the opportunities and the profitability.
Okay. Yeah, I see some awesome comments coming in. Some Shelly feeling like hiding behind a book. Don't you dare, Shelly. You're a star. We're going to make that happen.
Unless
All
it's
right.
your book,
That's right.
which is awesome.
Amen.
Right?
Good
You
catch,
peek around
Michael.
every now and then.
That's right. All right. So I'm just going to pull these up on the screen and just recap them for you guys. If you guys want to grab a screenshot of this right now, that'd be great. So 4 questions. Is my brand super defined? Is it developed to showcase all those things right now? How I'm different, how I'm unique, and all of those 5 critical questions. Is my brand displayed correctly and consistently everywhere? And is it making me money? Cha-ching, cha-ching. You definitely want that. Okay.
So if you answered no to any of the 4 questions that we just posed to you, your problem is not your marketing. The problem is your brand. Okay. But the great news is there's simple and easy fixes for these things. We have so many incredible stories that are happening every day, unfolding every day. And if you want to see that for yourself, check out our clients page on our website and see the people who are making a difference in their brand and then also in their pocketbooks every day.
Yeah, exactly. And the website's brandfacestar.com. It's up on the screen if you want to grab another screenshot. We decided earlier this year to launch a project. It's our Client Spotlight magazine. It's a 6-page spread we do for every client that comes through our program. And if you guys want to take some time and check that out on our website, it's on the clients page of our website. Definitely check it out because those people deserve the recognition. They're stars just like you. And it's been such a pleasure and an honor to work with them. And I will say this, since we started doing this, many of our clients have actually used this product to get on podcasts and stages and to send to potential clients and tee them up. So your brand's number one job is to precede you guys. And when we say everywhere, we mean everywhere.
Yeah. And I want to share a story about that everywhere. Okay. 2 things folded into this one quick story. All right. Recently, we had a client that told us he was almost ready to give up on his project, his coaching business, before he came into our program. This guy's a lifelong sales coach, 35 years in the industry of sales coaching. All right. And he said he'd just been struggling for too long with his own project. He just wasn't confident, believe that or not, that he could build the business that he truly envisioned. And yesterday, when we had him on our podcast to talk about his branding journey, he just kept using the word confidence over and over and over again. So imagine this guy that has been a sales coach for 35 years. Now he's on his own, under his own shingle, building his own coaching business for this. And he said, I just fixing to put it on the shelf. And then you guys defined my brand, gave me more purpose. My messaging was dialed in, and now I have more confidence than I've ever had. Right. And I'll leave you with the Tyson quote: confidence breeds success, success breeds confidence. And that's what your brand dialed in can do for you.
Exactly. So, hey, if anybody feels like, hey, there's been too many no's here today, I could use a conversation, scan that code or visit discussyourbrand.com, and we'll be glad to help you dial in those issues and challenges that you have. And it would be an honor to do that. And again, thank you Mike, so much for having us here today and allowing us to share this with you guys. I hope it makes a big, big difference for you.
Yep.
There we go. See, I get the buttons. Like, Restream changed everything, and I'm too old. I'm like, where's the buttons? Hey, but did you see the comments? My gosh, see, people want to know this. Thank you for coming to educate, to help people, to inspire people, but also to let them know, hey, it's not you. So far too often, tell me if I'm right in the comments, and you guys, far too often, we think we stink. Right. We're not cut out for this. We don't know what we're doing. People don't like me. They don't like my offer. No, it's just confusing, and you don't know what you don't know. And that's why I'm so excited to see these folks being open and coming in and learning. And my encouragement is, hey, go connect. You can find Tonya Eberhart on LinkedIn, go to brandfacestar.com and have a conversation. They have a group call that is fantastic. They have opportunities. They have people to meet. Hey, go be around winners. Stop asking how and go find who. That's how I've made it. I finally made it just by asking who, right? Like an owl, like a redneck owl. Who? This is all the time. Like, who do you know? Who can open doors? Right? Who can I support and bring value to first? So you guys are seeing this. Again, hey, shameless plug. If you're floating around out there and you aren't connected with these rock stars and the Hounds, what's wrong? All right. Hey, we have a group called DM me. We never push anybody. We just want to see courage before confidence. You have something special to do in this world through your business, and dadgummit, we're going to help you get it done. If you're serious, all right, if you're serious and you like to push others up and focus on doing great work, that's what we're here for, guys. So any last words? Because we did have a question, but I can't find the dadgum thing.
We had several on there. And while you're looking for the questions, I want to encourage everybody to join the Hounds. Do the same thing. Look this up, because I can tell you we love the Hounds. They're a highly supportive group. Highly supportive. Game changer for us too. So can't say enough good about it.
I appreciate it. I didn't pay them to say that. They said that on their own. Dadgummit. All right. See that, but that's a funny point. We earn that. People won't put their reputations on you unless they're 1000% sure of you. And that carries weight with folks. They know that. They know, oh, wow, if you're going to go out there and have hundreds of super pros talk about how good you are and what value you brought and how you made an impact, guys, you can't buy that at the corner store and you can't fake it. That's earned. So thank you all for setting the stage here. I tell you what, let's go ahead and get to the second key person. All right. We'll bring up Dan Manning because, wow, Dan Manning. So once you have your brand dialed in, you got to be able to market. You'll have to be able to speak it. You're going to have to be able to tell your story, whether it's content, whether it's face to face, elevator pitch. You're going to have to be able to respond to that podcast, all these things. So one of the things that I have really noticed was that Dan is a superstar, right, of taking people that are well branded, well defined, know who they are, know who their audience and clients are, and saying, all right, now we can go tell this story, right? You have this big story, we can take pieces off of it. It's been so masterful. So stay backstage if you can, go grab a drink or something, leave the quarter on the coffee pot. All right. And we're going to bring up Dan. So thank you all. And hey, go connect with Tonya. All right. And Michael. All right. Go connect with these folks. They are amazing people. Thank you for coming today.
Thank you, Mike. Bye, guys.
All right. Well, let me go ahead. And yes, I had somebody supposed to help me, but they had an emergency. So, hey, Captain Kirk's flying the Enterprise by himself and not doing too bad. What do you think? Tell me in the comments. I'm not doing too daggum bad. All right. It's easy when you got rock stars like this over here. So now we're going to go to build the story with Dan Manning. I had Dan Manning in my course. So I help people. It's not a social media course, right? It's sales, marketing, consumer psychology. It's what you need to build a successful business, but it's centered around marketing it on social media. Dan has been an instrumental part of helping my clients and even Hounds go in and learn, hey, how do we craft a story that can attract folks they can relate to and put our best selves out there, right? And he has been among the best of the best, and so super honored to have him here. So without further ado, let me get to his bio, and I'm going to bring Dan up and take tons of notes. These go right hand in hand with what Tonya says, and then we'll wrap it up and follow it up with Christine, who is all about scalability, right? And really tackling those challenges that we face as we're on this journey. So Dan Manning is the chief story architect founder of Build Your Story, where he helps founders and executives construct short, impactful stories to sell themselves and their business. His clients have raised millions in investment capital and sold millions with 650 plus stories he has built with them. His storytelling framework is the model the Department of State and Department of Defense use to train their emerging leaders. Companies like HP, Average Bank, and Pet Value hire Dan to improve their ability to lead, sell, and communicate through effective storytelling. He's also a Techstars and Generator mentor and the author of Thinking Better, Critical Thinking, and Creativity through Trusting Collaborations. Without further ado, let's bring the man up himself, Mr. Dan. Mr. Dan, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good. How are you doing, Mike?
I'm awake now. After that, oh my gosh, folks in the comments, Hounds, friends of the Hounds, man, these are serious people. Connect with each other, follow each other. These are people who wake up and are serious about building a business, a lifestyle that can afford them the freedom, right? That we don't want to pay the electric bill every day, right? We can do that in the meantime, but the ultimate goal is to have the time, money, and freedom to go out there and make big things happen. Go help causes that are important to us and go help other people who are on that journey. And Dan, you've been instrumental in helping myself, the Hounds, and the clients that do that. So everybody take notes. Cannot wait to learn more from Dan. And the floor is yours. Let me see. Did you load up your presentation or?
No presentation. I have no slides. It's me and pure
sweet.
value. So here we go.
All right. Well, we know you're pure value. So I'm going to get off here, guys. Everybody take notes, ask questions, and engage in the convo freely. We appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thanks so much. So this is going to be about 15 minutes of a workshop, right? I'm going to be sharing some information with you, but I'm also going to be putting you to work. The work that you're going to do is going to help you to communicate the brand that we just heard about from BrandFace. Now, let's start with this, because this turns out to be probably the most important lesson that I teach founders. So it's acetaminophen, right? There's some Tylenol that's in here, but when would you take this? When do you need this? You're probably answering something about maybe a headache or maybe a backache. My back's a little sore this morning as well, right? I take it when I have a headache. I don't say I need to take this when I have vasodilation that's irritating my nociceptors in my cranium, right? There's a difference between pain and problem. Understanding that difference between pain and problem as you're creating your story is the thing that unlocks the attention and the interest that you need in your audience. If I think back just a few months ago, I had a toothache and I was actually traveling. I was speaking in DC at an event. So I didn't go to the dentist right away, and I waited until I came back to Alabama where I live. And I finally went to my dentist. But by then, my tooth was hurting, my jaw was hurting. I wasn't able to sleep very well. It was beginning to impact my work. So I go to the dentist. She takes some x-rays and she comes back and says, Dan, you need a root canal. What we're going to do is we're going to send you to this other place, that very, very sore place in your mouth. We're going to inject needles into it to give you some painkiller. Then we're going to drill into your tooth. We're going to rip that nerve out, and then we're going to jam something else back in on top of it. We're going to put a crown on it, and you're going to pay us $1,000 to do it. I said, yes. Can I do it today? Please. Because I needed the pain taken away. I didn't ask, well, what was the problem? What caused this? What's the root cause of what's going on? None of that mattered. All that mattered was relieving my pain. And I'm telling you, your customers and your clients, honestly, that is all that matters to them as well. I've got lots of problems that need fixing. I've got a little leak in my roof, but it only leaks when it rains really hard. I've got a car that needs a little bit of work, but I haven't taken it to go get work. But in a couple of hours, I'm going to feel the pains of hunger. I'm going to go to the store. I'm going to spend money, and I'm going to get food that relieves my hunger pains. Problems are things that need to be solved. Pain is why we want to solve them. So when I tell you this, you're like, oh yeah, well, obviously that's exactly what you would expect. But here's the thing. When I talk to my clients and I'm helping them to write business stories that they're going to use on LinkedIn, stories that they're going to use in conversations with their customers, stories that maybe they're going to use on stage when they're speaking to a group, and I ask them, what is the pain that your business relieves? Because let's be serious for a second. All businesses are businesses because one person pays another person to relieve their pain. That's it. All that matters, and I see in the comments there from Dr. Kimberly Ray, all that matters to clients, and she's a doctor as well, so you can believe her. All that matters to clients is relieving the pain. She knows what she's talking about. Every business is a business because one person pays another person to relieve their pain. And now I ask founders that I'm writing the stories for, what is the pain that you relieve for your customers? And I'll tell you, almost nobody answers back with a pain. They say, well, we help them to generate more leads, or we help them to do this thing or to do that thing. They talk about the problem, or they talk about what it is they do. Oh, we create a great digital marketing package for them. No, that's not it. What I'm asking is, what is the pain that you relieve for your customers? How would your customers know that they have this problem that you solve? Because as founders and business owners, we are problems experts. We are solutions experts. We are spending our time, our money, our attention, our relationships take hits. We are spending all of ourselves to develop solutions to problems that we know. We are problems experts. We are solutions experts. But our customers are not. Our customers are experts in the pain that they feel. And when I show them that I understand their pain, I earn the right to talk about my solution. Now, if you look at the copywriting frameworks and you go back and you or if you were to use Chat GPT or something to help you write some copy, it's going to use often this framework that talks about agitating the pain, right? Problem, agitate, solution. But a lot of the people that I work with don't want to agitate someone's pain. Right? I don't want to poke the bruise. What I want to do is not agitation, it's connection. I want to be so clear. And when I'm at my best, I'm communicating so clearly about the pain that people have that they say, "Man, I thought I was the only one. I thought I was the only one that thought that, but I'm not, because Dan, or one of my clients, they understand it so well. And if they understand it so well, maybe they also have the solution to that pain." I'm going to ask you to put into the chat, what is the pain that your business relieves for your clients? And I'll take a look at those as they're coming in. And as they're coming in, let me also let you know one more thing about sort of the way that humans work and a little bit about consumer psychology. So one of my favorite thinkers and writers was Daniel Kahneman, who actually just passed away this year. He wrote the book Thinking Fast and Slow, but he also won the Nobel Prize in Economics in 2002 for prospect theory. And one of the findings of prospect theory is that losses hurt more than gains feel good. It hurts more for me to lose 20 bucks than it feels good for me to reach in my other pocket and say, hey, there's 20 bucks that I forgot that I had. I'm still even, but I feel bad because of the loss. What he also found was that because losses hurt more than gains feel good, people take more risks, they spend more money, they go to greater lengths to stop losing than to start winning. And when an option is presented to people in terms of, and pain is a loss, thinking about those losses, when it's presented that way, people actually become risk seeking. If I talk to you about understanding the headache that you have, like I have this throbbing that's right behind my eye. It feels like my eye's about to pop out of my brain. I can't, even when I close my eyes, the only thing I can think about is my pain. And it feels like it's just throbbing right here in my temple. I need some pain relief. When I talk about that, now it's much easier for me to make the choice to take some pain relief because I'm getting rid of this pain. I would be a sucker to hold on to this pain. But what founders like to do is talk about all the good things that they can do. We like to think about all the good things that we can create for our customers. And we start talking about how we're going to make their lives better. But what Kahneman found is that when we put people in the domain of gains, thinking about things that are better, they actually become risk averse. Hiring you is a risk. We want people to be risk seeking when they're thinking about hiring me or you. And we don't want them to be risk averse. And when I talk about all the good things, people go into that risk averse place. So let's take a look at here in the chat. So Dr. Jeffrey Berger talks about a help to relieve financial stress. I would encourage you to get a little bit deeper on that. How does financial stress show up for a person? How does financial stress impact them? How would they know that what they are suffering from is financial stress? Maybe it is when they open up their bank account, or maybe they don't open up their bank account. Maybe they avoid looking at their bank account because they're afraid of what it's going to see. And then when they do finally go to open it, they click open. And in that second between the time that they've clicked open and the bank account actually appears, they're not breathing, their stomach drops, their heart is pounding, just waiting to see what is the number there at the bottom. And then they see the number, and that number drives everything else for the rest of their day. That's what it feels like to suffer from financial stress. And when I talk about it in those terms, the person I'm talking to, they're saying, that's me. That's me. I feel that financial stress. Dr. Jeff Berger, he understands that. And if he understands it so well, maybe now he can help me to overcome it. All right. I'm going to take a look into the chat, and I'll give you some comments back on those pains that you list there as well. All right. So the first thing we talked about was pain, right? And pain relief. You want to build pain relief into these stories. And now you were starting to get there. I'm seeing Dr. Berger's comments there as well. 401ks turning into 101ks, working paycheck to paycheck, no money for vacation. Absolutely, right? You're getting closer. But what does it feel like to have no money for vacation? A little bit closer, right? It feels like I'm working so hard. I deserve to have a vacation. I want to take my family on a vacation. I want to My family is sacrificing so much for me to have this business that I want to give them something back, and I can't because I don't have any money in my account and in my business. Like, that is where you start getting behind the curtain and get so close to someone and their pain that they now are listening to you. Right? Here's the thing. Nobody has ever gotten to the end of LinkedIn. Nobody has ever scrolled to the bottom and like, no more posts. There's always something else there for people. We talk about how we need to capture a person's attention, and that is true. And everybody talks about how our attention spans are shorter. They say that they're shorter. They talk about goldfish. Here's the thing. The same people that say that our attention spans are shorter go and binge an entire season of their favorite show on Netflix. They'll gladly give up hours of their attention for this show on Netflix. It is not that our attention spans are shorter. It's that we have a lower tolerance for things that are not interesting to us. But nothing is more interesting to us than ourselves and the pain that we feel. When you talk about pain, especially early in the story, you're going to capture attention, but more importantly, you're going to convert that attention into interest. And that is going to allow you to now talk about the next thing, which is change, right? Got a few coins in the jar, right? Change. Change is the point of the story that you tell. Change is why we want to listen to a story. If nothing changes, you don't have a story. But also in your business, change is the point of your business. If you aren't creating a transformation, if you aren't creating change for people, why do they need to buy from you? Right? When you listen to Mike talk about the Hounds, he talks about how the Hounds, people go from being alone and now they join this group and they get the information they need. They feel the support that they've always had or that they've always needed, that they've always wanted, and now they get to find it there. It's this transformation that the Hounds creates for people who join up into there. You've got to be clear about what is the transformation that you are creating for your customers. Humans are evolved to be change detectors. Change is what keeps us, or noticing change is what keeps us alive, right? Being alone at night in a house all alone in the dark and in the quiet, that's not too scary. It's that one bump in the night. What is that? What was that thing? We need to be attuned to what the change is. What is the change that your business creates in a customer's journey? So maybe you tell a story about how you discovered this change for yourself, you applied it for yourself, and now you're offering that to other clients. Or even better, you talk about a client who felt the pain that a previous client that felt the pain that your next client is feeling, and now you dive into that, how you created a change for them. All right, so I asked you before into the chat to put in what is the pain that you relieve, and now I'm asking you, what is the transformation? What is the change that you were creating for your customer from whatever that pain is to something else? Drop those into the chat. From whatever the pain was to something else. That's the transformation that you were creating. And then the last thing I'm going to talk about is the story. This is an umbrella. Right? I'm not going to open it up because maybe that's going to be bad luck, but I'm going to hold on to this for a second. Right? When I have a post that I've shared a few times about how to sell an umbrella. And if we think about, we all are familiar with umbrellas, and we think about how to sell an umbrella, I want to think about the pain. Right? What is the pain that an umbrella solves? And people, when I ask this in a workshop, they'll say, oh, it keeps you from getting wet. Like, but I don't mind if I'm in the shower, I don't mind getting wet. If I'm at the beach, I don't mind getting wet. If I'm swimming, I don't mind getting wet. It's not that I'm getting wet. It's that I'm wet when I want to be dry. Right? That's the pain that I'm solving. So now if I tell a story about how sometime this umbrella saved me from the pain of getting wet when I in fact wanted to be dry, now I get to convey my information. I get to convey my message, put it into my audience's brain without them feeling like they've been pitched. There's a billion people on LinkedIn. The only thing we all agree on is that none of us wants to be pitched. When I tell a story, I wrap the pain, I talk about the transformation, and I put it into a story on LinkedIn or anywhere else. People get to visualize and receive what I'm saying without feeling like they are being sold to. So for an umbrella, I might tell a story about how a few weeks ago I was going to a job interview downtown. I found the building, but I couldn't park right at the building. I had to park 2 blocks away. And right before I started to get out of the car, the ceiling, the sky opened Rain was pouring down. I knew that I was going to be soaked, and this job interview was important. I had a new suit. I had made sure my hair was all good and ready to go. But if I walked the 2 blocks to the job interview, I was going to make a horrible impression. But I looked into the door pocket, and there was this tiny umbrella that my wife had purchased. It was so small that she bought one for each of our cars, and it was always there at hand. So I picked it up. I walked to the job interview. I stayed dry while everybody else was wet. And when I walked into the waiting room, everyone was soaked except for me. I made a great first impression, and I got the job. Right? I talked about a pain that my audience would recognize. I talked about the change and the transformation, and I delivered it in a story. So the last thing that I would say here is, in the chat, think about the core story that you want to tell, right? Every story is essentially things used to be like this, something changed, and now they're like that. Every business story is things used to be like this, and because of that, I felt this pain until this thing changed, and now things are like that. So what would you say for yourself? What is the before for your customer? What is the pain that they felt? What is the change? And then finally, how have you relieved that? And what is their life like now? Thanks so much. I'd love to connect with you on LinkedIn. I'd love to continue the conversation. I'll take a look at these comments, and I'll make sure to reply back to you and give you some ideas and help you to continue building your story so that you can build your business and build your journey. Thanks so much, Mike. I appreciate it.
Holy cow. Have y'all ever met a guy who is so cool and even spoken, generate so much excitement? Holy cow, man. That's just the power of story, man. As you're doing this, we're seeing you come to life. You're demonstrating what you teach and coach others to do for themselves. And real quick, because you guys make this stuff affordable and accessible. We imagine sometimes it can be an investment, but you got a community, right? So if people are just starting off and they have limited funds, you have a community they could tap into what $35 a month so they can
$35 a
learn
month.
the craft.
Yeah,
Right?
35 bucks a month.
Yeah, I mean, come on, dude. I mean, you get rid of coffee one time a month, and you can build a daggum business. This is what we're talking about. You've been told that you can't do this, but you can. Now, the question is, will you? So, thank you all for that. Hey, bring in the questions and comments for Dan. Thank you so much for bringing that. I mean, this is real stuff. Somebody can use this right now to start moving forward. And then, guess what? If you're a real champion in the making, you'll go get a coach and a guide. Right? I was an amateur for far too long, Dan. And I'm not preaching. I'm telling people don't do what I did. Don't drive off the cliff. Man, all top level athletes, coaches, all of them, all the top level business people have multiple coaches and they scale up. So this is what this is for. Take what they use, put it into practice, get that needle moved a little bit. And then once you start to move forward, go get a coach who knows how to take you to the next level. That's what Tonya, Dan, and Christine are all about. Thank you so much, Dan. As you can tell, the Hounds love you, brother. So
I love them. Thanks so much.
Wonderful. All right, but we're going to let Dan take a break, a well-deserved break. Before we have our amazing brand new is fantastic. Haven't known her that long. It doesn't take that long to meet her. Let's bring her up, and I will read her bio. Real short bio. And let's see, Christine Campbell is an energetic, tell it like it is business advisor, mentor, consultant, speaker, and 3-time international best-selling author. She supported over 400 companies to create a combined revenue of more than $1 billion and believes business growth can be eloquently simple when you focus the 3 non-negotiable business foundations that help a client grow and growth engine. So I call her the business whisperer. This is just me rambling. This is not her identifier, so don't kill me. But I sat down and just talked about, that next phase. When we build a business, we hit a new phase. Right. So you're going from paying the electric bill and hoping it works and going up and down in income and questioning and all this stuff. And then you start to hit it. Well, guess what? Yeah, it's like when Michael Jordan went from basketball to baseball. It's you're still an athlete. You're not starting from scratch. But boy, it's a new arena. It's a new rules, right? It's a new way to learn. You've got to figure this stuff out. So don't do it alone. She was able to listen and identify, hey, here's a couple challenges you're having, reframe the question and move forward. And dadgummit, it worked. So without further ado, let's bring her up. Christine, where are you? Are you hiding back there? She's hiding under the couch in the green room. There she is.
Good morning.
All right. So glad you were here. How are you doing today?
I'm exceptional. Thank you. It's absolutely amazing. We love the Hounds community. The speakers have been incredible, and I'm really excited to tell you it's go time. It's time to light that engine.
It is. So thank you. And I met you with how do you say her last name? Virginia? Is it
Buzzquiz.
Markswood? And that lady, she came at me like Tonya. She just came out through the kitchen sink and saw the value and saw the people she wanted to be aligned with. And you are the result of that. See, that's what I mean. Asking who, being around like-minded people. And look what happens. You just get flooded with folks. So reach out to us. We want you to be test drive us, check us out, see if we're a good fit, vice versa. But thank you for helping us. So once folks get their brand, once they get their story, once they start moving forward, all of these growth challenges, all of these unexpected paths and inner doubts and external challenges. And that's where you specialize, in my opinion. So we're going to let you rock on. I will come back in. We'll take some questions from the audience. I'll ask you some myself because I want to dive in. So the floor is yours. Thank you so much for being here. And we love having you in the Hounds, Christine.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. Guys, I want to talk to you about the power of actually creating the business. And I have this belief that business should be epically amazing. It should feel like oxygen, although not the only oxygen you breathe. And equally important to that is that it should be your way. I have created and worked with companies, everything from freelancers, solopreneurs, startups, to some of the biggest companies on the planet. And what I will tell you is the most heartbreaking thing for me to observe is watching you do the hokey pokey. 1 foot into your business dream, 1 foot out. 1 week of activity, 1 week of hiding under the covers. Truthfully, it is not the brightest that win this game. It is not enough to simply want it. In order to create success in every season, stop believing the hype that the sky is falling, that it's hard out there, that money is not moving hands. It is not true. And I've been at this game a long time. That $1 billion that I've helped people create comes from one conversation at a time and understanding how to play the game. And it's okay if you didn't know how to play the game. Not everybody is my story, where I was equipped with 2 great degrees from great universities in the world of business, 25 years in the world of business, helping people make many, 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 many millions of dollars. I know how to market. I know how to sell. I know how to create the systems of a client growth engine. And I'm going to help you learn the game of business in the next 10 minutes. Because it's not that complicated, and you buying into the complicated is holding you back from everything you want. And everything you want is on the other side of fear. So I want to ask you today the most important question, the reality check you need, which was when you got out of bed today, what was your number 1 priority to complete? That if you thought, if I just complete this one thing today, I will have moved the needle. I will feel great as I go to bed. I will sleep well at night. And honestly, I'll look in the mirror and say, I'm awesome today. So I want you to pop it in the chat. Like, what are you focusing on today that you think is the biggest thing you needed to do? What is it that you thought, if I could just complete that, I would breathe? I'd stop stressing at 3 o'clock in the morning, wondering where the hell my next client is coming from. What did you do on that task list that you got out of bed? Whether it's a Post-it note, a digital system, what was your number 1 priority today? Maybe it was being here. Maybe it was updating your website, sending out a newsletter, working on a chapter for a book that will be coming out in 2025. Maybe it was taking your favorite notebook to Starbucks thinking that clarity will come at 2 o'clock over a soy nut latte. I will tell you there's a lot of things that people prioritize thinking that business is driven by the task. Let me blow your mind. Are you ready? White knuckle the moment. I'm going to blow your mind. Your number one task today is to make an offer and find a paying client. Sales is your number one priority. And the reason why so many businesses go bankrupt is because they're so distracted by the task list of things of a someday client and not a today client. Today is the only thing you're given. You got out of bed today breathing, which means there was a purpose to the day and to this moment. And so do not let the distractions kill your business dream. It's time to stop dancing the hokey pokey and realize that sales is not a luxury. It is a necessity. It's the oxygen of your business. And if you do not have sales in your business, and I mean consistent, frequently, predictably, you, my friends, are living in the hope strategy. We heard a lot about that from Dan. Are you solving the hope or are you solving the pain? And I'm not going to make a political statement, but if you look back to what happened recently in the American election, that's exactly the difference. We had hope for a greater day or an economic Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Let's get your families fed. You can't solve tomorrow's problem without first addressing today's, which is you need paying clients. And in case you're not sure, 100% confidence coming from me, your next client is ready to buy today. The question is, are they going to shop from you or from somebody else? That's a choice you're making. So let me tell you, what will predict your revenue over the next 90 days? And this is true throughout the year. And I say 90 days because it takes on average 90 days for somebody to go from first contact, hey, you're a stranger, by the way, I'm Christine Campbell-Rappin, to becoming a paid client when you are great at selling. And if you're thinking, crap, like I'm not great at selling, well, then you might want to go 90 days plus. And how many pluses you need, you know. You have to figure out the selling components to this. Because here's the first piece of the puzzle so many of you missed in the fine print when you jumped into the foray of becoming a business badass. Your business will be built on strangers. Always. You cannot rely on your current network, your friends, your family, your poor Auntie Mabel, to fuel your business dreams and expect to have a business that is stable for the long term. You have to understand that getting in front of more people, more ways, more often may be incredibly uncomfortable. It is also not a luxury. And you might be surprised because I'm coming at you with some heat today that I am not a natural person who walks into a room and says, I own it. It's a learned skill and you must learn it. I'm an introvert, a high introvert. Trust me, my husband's like, seriously, if you could talk as loud as you do and as confidently you do when you're on a Zoom as you do when you leave that room, I would hear everything you say. And he doesn't, because I will like run away and hide and then need my own energy. You have to know that strangers are the golden ticket. So what comes first, the chicken or the egg? You showing up and deciding to go make strangers means that the golden egg of a paid client is even possible. But here's the kicker. Not all visibility is equal. Yes, you need an amazing brand, and brand and marketing are not the same things. Tonya and Michael did an awesome job talking you through that, but it is essential that you recognize it's not enough to be visible. If you are in the wrong room, the room who cannot afford you, the room who doesn't want you, the room who will say someday that will be a priority, because it's a hope strategy, not a pain strategy. You have to be able to find the buyer. The next buyer is the golden pivot point where everything becomes scalable. So how many people are you meeting? Let me ask. How many people are you meeting that you believe have the potential to become your buyer of today when you make the offer, not someday or 10 years from now, or when the unicorns fall from the sky and it's perfect and you're ready? Blowing your mind. Your business will be built on strangers, so you better be auditing how many people you're meeting. And chances are you are not meeting enough people. And if we simply started there, boy, would we change the trajectory of your business. That 1% a day of activity of finding a person to talk to today could be the difference between your business creating multiple six figures in the next 12 months or seriously still doing the hokey pokey. Choices, my friends, choices. Second piece of this puzzle, which is so important, is to recognize, which is why I said it was your number one priority every single day in your business, is it is up to you to make an offer. Your buyer's scared. They're in pain, and they're not caring how you do it. They don't care if it includes 3 unicorns, a bobcat, a balloon, 12 weeks, 3 weeks, 10 weeks, 3 seconds. I don't care. Just give me the pain relief. But it is up to you to lead the offer, which means you have to do it scared. And you need to have a certainty around your offer. And you need to say, it is not about whether you say yes to me. Is it about me being in service to knowing I can help guide you to solve the pain? And so if you want a better business in January, and you want a better business in February, and you want to actually create cash and stop the 3 a.m. nightmare wondering, where the hell is my next client coming from? You've got to know that these 2 things predict your revenue. So please be sure everything else you're doing is a luxury you can't afford. So I'm going to tell you what the 3 non-negotiables are, and then I'm going to have Mike come and ask me some questions because I want this to be real life, real conversation, because I'm guiding you to the fact that your next client will be found by real life, real conversations. But here's what you need to know. And this is true every business on the planet. There has not been a single business that I've ever come in contact with, 400 clients and many other companies I have engaged with in my career, do this. And if you learn to do this, you have the foundations to breathe and get off life support anytime you choose. First piece, you have to be able to identify and attract that next buyer. That is not saying she's Betty Lou, she lives in Boise, Idaho, she's got 2 dogs and a cat, and she wants financial independence. Mike and Tonya and Dan have all explained to you that you have to get clear on your values. You have to get clear on the story. You have to know what people want. Because what they want is what will move them, not what they need. Second piece of the puzzle is that it is important that you can move something. Everything's about movement in my world. And if you stay in movement, you will win the game. It's not the smartest who win. It's those who have the tenacity to stay in the game and focus on the movement, trusting the process, doing what's required, not just what you want. Because in order to have what you want, you have to do what's required, which means, yeah, I'm going to do some things I don't want to do, which means stop being an introvert and realize if I want to grow my business, I have to be here. And having my business provides the things I want. So it's worth it. And this is the biggest mistake. Don't mistake, I said, simplicity and not ease. People are not looking for an easy path. They're wanting a path that works. And when it's worth it, they will move. So your ability to move somebody from curious to paid client is a strategy. It's not a tactic. Every tactic under the sun works. A website works, SEO works, speaking works, networking works. All of the tactics work. If they're not working for you, it's not the tactic that's the problem, is you have no roadmap to get from A to B. And Dan talked a lot about that. But your ability to know who you are, what you stand for, what makes you awesome, why people would hire you, what you will do for a result, and what you need to do it over and over and over again is how you win. Third piece of the puzzle is that it is up to you to lead the offer because your buyer is scared. They have tried to solve the problem. They have Googled it, Pinterested, YouTube. They bought courses. They've listened to podcasts. They've spent money on coaches and service providers. And here is the elephant in the room. I still need that problem solved. Which means it's up to you to be scared and do it anyway. Lead the offer and recognize this. Your insecurities are irrelevant. Your perception of the price is irrelevant. What matters is the value as seen on the other side of the equation. Which means you should go talk to somebody and say, why is it worth it to you? What are you trying to solve? What have you tried? Why is it still a problem? If we could solve that problem, would it be worth a conversation? If it's worth a conversation, here's what my expertise says I recommend for you. And if I can recommend it for you, how does that sound? What do you like about that? And if you like that, would you like me to make you an offer? And if we really want the result and it's worth it for you and I made you an offer, why the hell would you make any other decision than, yes, I need that? And my friends, I just took you through an entire sales cycle in less than a minute. So I want to bring Mike back out here because we talked about what you need to focus on. I've blown your mind and said, this is how you move the engine. My question to you is, it's go time. Do you really want the business that you're asking for? Do you? Because I can't want it for you. We are fuel sources for you, but you're the spark.
Holy cow. All right. Listen, this has got to be the educational presentation, webinar, whatever you want to call it, of the year. All right. I'm going to go ahead and challenge everybody. Tell me if you agree in the comments. But hey, you have it real quick. You have an ebook on your website, correct?
I do.
Right.
Yes.
All right. Everybody go. I'll put it up there. Go get it. All right. And again, here's our mantra in the Hounds. We got a lot of mantras, right? And short, pithy sayings. But here's one of the top ones. We don't mind if people say yes or no to anybody or anything. Here's what we encourage people to do, which I didn't do for a long time. Know what the heck you're saying yes and no to before you decide, right? There's too many life-changing opportunities and decisions that we're saying no to before we go and dive in and get all the information. Right? And that's a big problem. I heard you say it. So let me throw a couple points and ask a couple questions. And folks in the audience, feel free to chime in. All right. We're going to bring all the panelists up, try to do our best to get some question and answers going. If you have specific questions to any of the panelists, let's do that. But there's a couple things that you've helped me, Christine, and I want to make sure folks understand it. When you're trying to grow or scale up, right, it's very, very challenging, right? And you help folks who can start off as well. But, there are people with big bags of money running around. And the question isn't, should I spend it? Should I invest it into something to help my pain point and grow? The question is who? And that I didn't realize that for a very long time. So when you were talking about getting in front of the right folks, right, doing all the things that needs to be done, it also leads us to the second observation, right? It's our duty to do well. It's our duty to go learn and get a good brand, get a good market, know our voice, right? Learn our story and put ourselves out there with courage, right? Before confidence, because here's what you're best at, in my opinion, one of them. We could have the best sales scripts, brand, et cetera, on earth. But if you don't fully believe in it and you don't show up and fully believe in it, how in the world can we expect other people to believe in our business, us, and our solution, right? And that was a big problem. That was a huge problem for me. Yeah, and I'm gonna talk 95% belief. No, 1000% belief. And this is what Christine is really good at, is helping guide. It just reminds me of therapy for business people. Like, hey, it's like a mirror.
Well, and that is my role. My role as a paid mentor is to help you build your business dream. And that means that I will hold your vision when you wobble for you, and I will help you borrow the belief that from the day you say to me, Christine, tell me what it's like to work with you. You've told me I trust you, and I'm going to borrow your confidence. You know where you're going. And so I want to address this for a second because, certainty is everything. And the reason we do the hokey pokey is we don't really understand and we don't really believe what we are capable of. And it will be a stranger who sees it first. We don't see that reflection in the mirror as clearly, which is why you need to be in spaces and have faith when someone says, I believe in what you're creating. And I tell my clients this all the time. I am not betting on your business idea. I know how to build a business. That's not the problem. I've created 400 of them. I'm betting on you and the person you are to build certainty that you have something to contribute. And here's the thing, I sent out a lightning rod email to my list. And please, if you subscribe, you'll be on it. You want to pay attention to this. I asked the question, are you willing? Are you willing is the most important thing, because a lot of us start our businesses because we want to save the world. And let me just tell you, the world is really filled with smart people. If the world wanted to be saved, it would have saved itself. So you cannot build a business that is saving the world. You have to start by saving yourself, which means you have to decide what you're willing to do. And that means, am I willing to do different things than what I'm doing now if the results are falling short of the goal? Am I willing to put my money where my mouth is, which is bet on myself, which is the lowest risk bet you will ever make in your life? Ever. So hello, what the hell? Bet on yourself. The third thing you have to be really willing is really willing to be the person that has the potential instead of the story of the rearview mirror. A great analogy I tell people is you're in the driver's seat of your life. The dashboard is 10 times the size of the rearview mirror. The things behind you are stepping stones. They're insights, they're valued lessons, but you have to believe where you're going. And so when you believe where you're going, the one thing you should pay for is somebody else to believe in you. Because I am said to people, I said, I don't care whether you do it or don't do it. That's your dream. Who am I to judge your dream? But when you say it's go time to me, everything I am is the mirror. Are your actions supporting you towards that goal, or are your actions not? And you do what you do with that assessment, which is why when you and I were chatting and you said, I have this big goal, but truthfully, this is the goal I told everybody about. And I just said, BS, Mike. Like, there's no multiple goals you hide. There's the goal of Mike's saving himself through the path of business, and he's going to create big ripples. And I said, stop trying to divide yourself. Don't dumb down the world. The world will rise to meet you. But you've got to be certain, because the certainty is everything. And you don't grow certainty by picking your notebook and going to Starbucks on Tuesday. And you don't grow certainty by thinking about it by yourself. You do it in conversation with somebody else. Says, I see your potential. And now I'm at church, business church. You're welcome.
Look, folks are signing up for the free resource. And one thing that you said to me, before I forget, when I was working through it, because I started the Hounds of Business, all of this stuff we started by accident, but through the talk that I had with you and this guided talk, we came to the realization that, hey, I may have started by accident, but we didn't create and evolve it by accident. It was with intention. And that right there really brought in the next wave. So December 1st, the Hounds, wow, my goodness, you guys won't recognize it because we're going next level. But see, it wasn't the marketing strategy I had a problem with. It was in between these two ears that really had what was holding me back, right? So let me ask these questions. I want to pull these folks on before they run away. And go through all the comments that you've got. Oh my gosh, I love being overwhelmed with this stuff. So how does someone shift from being a likable expert and become a much higher expert? So people like you, they like your content, they like you, but must hire. There's a difference there. How does someone shift to that?
Yeah, there's two things you need to recognize. Your job is not to educate. And I'm not saying don't educate at all, but people can get education anywhere. So if you're a likable expert, people like what you have to say, but they're not moving. To be a must hire, you have to say two things. Don't put yourself in the friend zone. Be clear that you are a paid expert and position yourself as such, and say, if this is the results you want, the transformation happens after you hire me. Stop educating. If they really had the problem of, I just don't know how, they would solve it in Google, Pinterest, YouTube, friends. They have a million resources. You'll never get paid to educate. So beware what you're doing. Be sure you're positioning yourself as a hireable resource, and remind them that what you want is on the other side of fear, and I'm your safest bet to hold hands with to get there.
My goodness. All right. Last question before we bring them up and give the audience a chance to fire away here. Well, how can we focus our effort on talking to more buyers and stop getting sidetracked with the folks who are, freebie takers and tire thumpers? So that happens, right? We go out there and then we get sidetracked, and we're busy, but we're not effective or productive.
Yeah, the first thing, and that's why this free resource that I gave you on my homepage is 25 ways to find your next buyer. Let's be clear. Chances are you are in the wrong room. If you're in a room with people who are broke, tied to their pain, and only want to live in the world of education, that is not a buying room. Get out of it. Second component is you get really comfortable in spaces where you have friends who've drank the same Kool-Aid as you. So they might be all marketing people if you're a marketer. They might be all spiritual people if you're spiritual people. Let's just be aware that that is not a person who is going to buy from you because they've already bought the Kool-Aid from somebody else. You need to be aware that your client is on a continuum of a problem they need solved. You're in the space of enlightenment because you've already solved it, or you're in a work in progress that you're in chapter 3 of solving it. Your next buyer is at chapter 1 or chapter 0 or chapter -10, which means if you're in rooms with people who say someday, one day, imagine if, and right now I really just want to complain about my life, run fast. You're not in a buyer's room. And if you're not sure where the buyer's room are, think of this analogy. The person who's ready to make a decision to solve their problem is standing on a landmine. They have stood on that landmine before and they're about to blow themselves up. You need to be intersecting them when you say, it's okay if you blow yourself up as long as we rejig ourselves into a different version of it on the other side. Otherwise, seriously, you are living in Groundhog's Day. And so the first thing is awareness. Second thing you need to do is you are obligated to get into other rooms and you need to know what you're looking for and be a good egg who doesn't judge, criticize, shame somebody into being a client, saying, I see you. I want you to know it's possible. Why is it worth it to solve this? Would you like to know how? Your job is curiosity. Curiosity will move the mountain.
Curiosity. Encourage before confidence. Have the courage. Like people say, how did you get confident and do that? Listen, I had the courage to look like a donkey if that's what was going to happen, and then try something else or tweak it or modify it. And that's the whole thing right here. I'm gonna bring the panelists up. I can't even keep up with the comments. This is amazing. Folks, I hope that you took a lot of notes, and I hope you go back if you didn't see the whole thing. Maybe you're popping in. I know life's busy. But this ain't just another webinar or presentation. This is the Trinity or triad of growth. Whether you're starting off startup business or you're scaling up to the next new heights, dadgummit, all right, and plug into these folks. They have resources. They have group calls. Don't assume anything. You know what you do when you assume. I won't say it because I'm professional capacity right now. But hey, let's do this. So I'll tell you what. You ready to bring folks up? Thank you for that. Thank you for clarifying, because again, just talking to you says it all, right? We can talk about you, but we can just talk to you. And that's what I encourage folks to do in the comments. Go talk to you and it'll make sense. And we met on that education or the six-figure summit with Virginia. And I was so glad you went after me. I was like, oh my gosh, if I had to go after her, guys, woo, I'd be nervous. But we complimented each other very well, because we want to attract folks. We want to help people. We're not trying to sell bald folks haircuts. No, not here. Okay. We're trying to find folks that say, you know what, I might want a hat or something, right? It's helping people get in where they're going to be best served. So I'll tell you what, let me go ahead and bring everybody back in. There's our pretty graphic. There's Dan. Dan's still here. He's probably done wrote 6 stories while he's back there. And then we've got Tonya and Michael. All right. And by the way, I got to pick on these two. Michael Carr, he came looking for marketing when he met Tonya, but he left with branding and love. Okay. I just want to make sure everybody that's one of the best stories right there, baby. All right,
oh man, look, I'm smarter than your average bear, man. I just, I realized she had the goods, so I just married her. You know what I mean? Lock that stuff down,
Oh my God.
Well, folks, I tell you what, we're going to wrap this up in the last 5 minutes. Anybody in the comments, anybody wants to chime in, give your feedback. Let them know if there was something there that really helped them get unstuck, or, made you excited about the business. Maybe you were, kind of sloshing along here and all of a sudden you heard some nuggets and went, oh, wow. Right. It's like the bell rang and you're ready for round 3. Right. So, but as people are asking questions, let me go ahead around the room. Let's go back to Tonya, since she's been back there hanging. Tonya and Michael, what's your best advice for someone who is just starting off? Like the baby step they can take. Maybe they're stuck. Maybe they're frustrated. Maybe they've tried branding before, right? And it just failed, or they feel like, this just ain't for me. Building a business, living a happy life, being free. I'm not cut out for that. What is a baby step they can take?
Okay, I'm going to lay out 2 steps, and then Michael, you can chime in on this if you want. But basically 2 steps are this. number one, figure out who those ideal customers are. And normally, not always, there are exclusions to this rule, but normally it comes from your background. Whoever you've worked with in the past, the industry you've been in the past, normally that gives you the credibility and the longevity and experience and expertise to help people somewhere in that arena, right? But you need to know their pain points. You need to know their dreams and desires, their challenges and struggles. You need to know all those things. Then step number 2, sit down and write down all your points of differentiation. What things set you apart inside of this space that make you attractive to those people? Do those 2 things, really do the homework on those 2 things. And it's a really great first step, because a lot of times a lot of enlightenment will come in that time period when you're doing that exercise, and it will be amazing where it will lead you.
Yeah, and the only thing I'll add to that is goes along with it. You know, I teach if all salespeople that I work with. You know, and especially this works in the internet world to our disadvantage. We have, it's a giant ocean out there, right? We're not even, if you're an internet coach and salesperson or collaborator, whatever, you like it, the world is your oyster. It is huge. There's 7 billion people out there, and so it can be overwhelming. And so, just like I do territorially, you got a geo farm. Like, you know, you need to, when you decide who it is that you're talking to, and you write down those points of differentiation and you choose one and stick to it, then all of a sudden you can bring opportunities into focus. Too many times in the internet world, we're out here like this and we can't catch it all. And the fish are flying by us 1,000 miles an hour. You got to narrow it down and then focus on 1, 2, 3, and then you start catching some, and then you can expand.
There you go. You know, and I'm not even making comments. See, I'm just over here soaking it up. I'm not even trying to be funny, just because Dan's here. I don't want Dan to leave. That's what it is. See, now everybody finds me funny, Dan. Right? I'll make a story about that. Hey, I said laugh with me, laugh at me. I don't care. Just laugh. All right. So Dan, you know, there's a lot of people out there, and thank you for sharing that, Tonya and Michael. There's a lot of folks out there who, like me, like, oh, write a story, tell a story. Oh, it's not my thing. I stink at it. Maybe we tried. Maybe we got embarrassed, right? I mean, there's legitimate, not excuses, but we have legitimate reasons, right? If I go out there and try to tell a story and everybody laughs, I might be scarred a little bit, right? I mean, we're human. It's okay. So if somebody has tried and failed, maybe they're super introverted, whatever, but it's an ultimate challenge. It's scary to them, not just a challenge. What are some, any advice or any, steps they can take to really just start to ease into the pool? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, so one of the things that I talk about pretty often is that half of a story's success is all structure. It is structuring a story and delivering it in the way that people expect to receive. If you get the structure right, you're going to be half of the way there. The other probably 40% comes from being honest and authentic about what it is that you are sharing, being clear about how you are communicating it, being clear about what you want your audience to understand. And then that last 10%, like that's the art. But if you do just the structure, the clarity, and being real, you're 90% of the way there, and you're going to be a top storyteller.
And it's baby steps, Dan. Did you just pop out of nowhere and just start telling great stories at the hospital after you were born, or did you have to work hard at it and figure it out, right? Like,
oh, absolutely, yeah. So I had to work pretty hard at it. Being a fighter pilot, you tell lots of stories, but they only have to be 10% true. And if they're funny, we'll waive the 10%. I was a speechwriter for a while as well in the Air Force. But then about 3 years, when I decided to focus on storytelling, I got very specific on how do I create these over and over. And in our community, we go step by step. There's 21 lessons. I'll tell you honestly, people probably quit at about lesson 15 because they have all the success that they wanted out of those 15. But it's very much step by step, and as you build on each one, you create the stories that you want to communicate with the people that you need to talk to.
Here you go. Hey, simple and effective. That's what we like here. I used to be complicated, but hanging around rock stars like this, I've learned to simplify. I want, and I'm getting older too. I'm one step away from Gargamel. I'm chasing kids off the porch. So anytime I can simplify life and really enjoy and have more harmony, I will. So it's not just about business and making money. Right? These things are going to help you shorten wasted time, right? Do things that matter so you can have fun and go do more things you enjoy as well. So thank you for that. And we're going to wrap it up with Christine. All right. please tell, and by the way, after you're done answering this, because folks have a mental block. That was my 90% of my problems still is, and I'm aware of, to focus on here, right? What's going on in here? The self-belief, the self-worth, right? I can do this. But it's not just fluff. You're not just cheerleading people and then they go out there and do stupid things, right? So you're helping people understand and see what they could be, and then you guide them to action steps to do it. Right. Like it's like a guide. It's the first time on the Appalachian Trail. I don't know anything about it, not prepared. I might need a good guide to help me through it. So when folks are struggling out there, either starting their business or the next level of what do I do? What are some baby steps or advice you can give them to get unstuck and start taking those little steps?
The first thing that you need to hear, and it's the biggest problem you've got, is you're fixating on how. And I will tell you, how kills more business dreams than anything else. How is not the most important question to be asking, because that's the same question your client is asking you. You could just tell me how I would do it, and you're a likable expert, and you're never getting paid. How is the wrong question to be asking yourself? And I said you have to be willing to save yourself first. Ask yourself this colossal question, which a lot of people say, I don't know the answer to, and I'm going to say yes. What do you want? What do you want? What do you want your life to mean? What do you want to feel like oxygen? What do you want? And it is about that burning thing, because I said to you earlier, Mike, you have to be the spark. You have a lot of people that can be fuel sources, but you have to light the engine first. And so if you can get clear on what you want, or start to have the courage to actually be willing to whisper it, write it down, and share it to a stranger, amazing things can start to happen. Because when you start to do that, the second part of the journey in movement is, why is it non-negotiable for you? Why is it worth it? Because you have to recognize you're going to be in pain. You're going to stand on landmines. You're going to suck at some stuff. And everyone will tell you you're crazy. And you are. And only you can say, and I'm saving myself, and it is 100% worth it. So I always say, start with what, figure out why it is, and then honestly leverage your scaredness for your impact. Impact is key. Money always follows it. And if you have the passion of your convictions, everything is possible. Everything.
What did you just say? Like, yeah, it's kind of like putting a camo hat on. You don't think people told me I was gonna be crazy? Of course I'm crazy. But this wasn't a costume. See, Dan, that's what Dan realized, right? I said, this is Larry the Cable Guy in reverse, man. This is not a costume. I just said the costume was my suit, right? The costume was me trying to speak, like normally and stuff. This is me. And again, think about it. Tonya Eberhart, Michael Carr, they didn't try to change me. They didn't try to get a dog to meow. They just helped me be the best dog I could be, right? And then people saw that. I dialed in. I said, this is what I'm about. And then Dan comes along and says, great, you got this great brand and know what you stand for and all this messaging. Hey, let's go out there and tell it in a great fashion that people can resonate with, the right people. And then, hey, guess what? You finally did it. You actually making things happen here. I'm freaking out, don't know what to do. Hey, thanks, Christine, for coming in and talking me off the ledge. Thank you for helping me see the forest from the trees. Right? What is next level? What to expect? See, I didn't know. I just freaked out. I said, oh my gosh, like, it was scarier when I was trying to pay the electric bill every day. And then, but she's been there. Right? She's already been there and done that. So it's nice to have a guide that can walk you through it. So I want everybody to thank you all. I know I'm still getting through the comments. This was stellar. If you want to be a part of the next educational presentation, if you believe you have something to share out there, or you know somebody who could be a great speaker on this monthly presentation, hey, send them to me, DM me, connect me, tag me. I want to meet them. All right. We can't get enough good stuff. We want to see you. You have an impact to make in this world. That's what this is about. It's not just about making money. Yeah, I love to make money. But in the Hounds of Business, it's why. Why? Well, because we can serve and help a lot of more people. We can take care of all that stuff out there that drives us crazy, all the injustice, all the struggles we had. Now we can turn around through our business and help others. That's what this is all about. And, hey, here's my dream. Y'all want to hear my goofy dream before I leave? All right. I love it. I don't care if it's goofy. I want to spend the next 40 years opening up food banks on my own dollar. I want to go and just help people. Next time I see kids run down the street without coats, I'm going to go buy the coats, right? Nobody's even going to have to know I did it. That's what this is about. And we can, absolutely can. All right. The question is, will we? Will we even attempt it? So I hope you were inspired by this. I hope you took a lot of notes. Sam Hall, I see you popping in, brother. Hey, make sure you go to the replay. My gosh, this is worth it. All right, grab a Snickers, grab some popcorn, share this with your friends out there and connect. just reach out, say thank you for their time today. Just reach out and just say, hey, just wanted to get to know you. Can we connect? All right. Everyone's on LinkedIn. So real quick, when we wrap it up, where's the best place? All right, Christine, we're going to start with you. Best place, your website, and tell folks where to find you.
It is the one and the same. Best place to find me is to find my name, Christine Campbell Rappin. You will find me, ChristineCampbellRappin.com, and then you can choose your own adventure from there.
Tonya, Eberhart, thank you so much. Where can folks find you guys? Plug in.
Yep. Connect with me on LinkedIn and visit BrandFaceStar.com. You can connect with me, get on a call with me if you want either direction.
You got it. And Mr. Dan, the coolest storyteller on earth, brother. How can people find you and plug in? You got a lot of offers.
Yeah, LinkedIn's the place. I post on there several times a week about storytelling, and always something actionable that will make it easier for you that day.
There you go. And did y'all see Kevin's comment? Gargamel costume next Halloween. Why? I'll just do it at Thanksgiving. I'll just show up late. I'll get the calendar wrong. Maybe at Christmas I'll dress up at Gargamel. I'm a little behind. All right, we have fun in the Hounds. You know what? I'm tired of my hairline falling out. I want to go make money, have fun with the right people. All right, folks, thank you for tuning in. Go have a great day. We will see you. No Hounds of Business tomorrow. All right. We've got another show, but today, 2:00 Eastern on the Mike King Show with ESPN RVA, we have a special guest. The lady is unbelievable. You do not want to miss this inspirational story. Almost unbelievable is the right words here. Plug into this. And guys, thank you so much for presenting. Dan, Christine, and Tonya, and Michael, you guys are stellar. So we'll see you on the next one. All right. Have a great Thanksgiving, and we'll see you. Plug into the Hounds. All right. DM me. Be good. Wave, everybody. I'll start the video. We'll close with that video. I love gumbo on a Friday night. All right.
See you.
Where is it? If you haven't seen this video, all right, it's okay to laugh. It's cute.
Be in a bit of a pickle. Don't you worry about a thing. You ain't alone in this. You're just a success story waiting to happen. Trust me on that. Every bump in the road is just an opportunity wearing a clever disguise. Welcome to the Hounds of Business Community, where we don't just sit around twiddling our thumbs. Nope. We turn those obstacles into mighty fine stepping stones. This here's a place where high-level entrepreneurs and sharp professionals gather to grow their businesses and mindsets, kind of like how a good old gumbo needs the right ingredients to be something special. Ideas thrive here, and collaborations, well, they're as natural as sweet tea on a hot day. Success, it's a journey, and we're fixing to walk that road right beside you. Now, don't forget to follow us on LinkedIn for all the latest tips and insights. We're talking about the kind of wisdom that'll keep you ahead of the game. And while you're at it, head on over to our YouTube channel. We've got ourselves a treasure trove of videos, from expert interviews to webinars, everything you need to stay sharp in this fast-moving world of business. The Hounds of Business Community? Well, we ain't just a network, we're a movement. So why not come on and be part of something bigger? Join us today and let's turn your business journey into a real Southern success story.